Alright guys, I figured since I'm about to go to work, I wanted to do a video real quick today and do another comic review. And this is another comic sent to me by my good friend Chris, and as you can see, yes, this is Eternals by Neil Gaiman and John Romita Jr. This is a big, hefty book, so Chris, thank you again for sending this to me. This was now, for reference, as much as I am a comic book fan and all that, I have never really read I've never really read anything with Eternals, mostly because I don't think even Marvel cared about the Eternals. But since we had a movie coming out, we have a movie coming out with the Eternals. Chris sent me this, and honestly, right out the gate, I'm going to say it. If you're looking for anything Eternals, I mean, aside from the Jack Kirby stuff, of course, you have to go read those. Those are kind of essential. But if you're looking for anything, just one book to read, if you have to pick one book to read to understand the Eternals, this is it. It's Neil Gaiman. First off, it's Neil Gaiman doing the writing. And I think this was right after he had done Marvel 1602. And he wanted to do, as the story goes, he wanted to do like because 1602 had such a huge cast that he couldn't do anything, that he couldn't do everything he wanted with in such a short time. So he wanted to do a comic series about a smaller cast. So Marvel was like, hey, how about you write the Eternals? And Gaiman was like, awesome, I'm in. So that was literally how it all went down, was that Gaiman was like, I want to write something with a small team, and I want to be weird and have fun with it. No one's going to notice. And said, yeah, I'll do Eternals. And Gaiman was the right guy to do this book, honestly. I mean, it's Neil frickin' Gaiman writing Marvel characters. What more can you want? Side note, go check out Marvel 1602 if you haven't already. Anyway, so this comic is pretty much, I wouldn't say like it's not a reboot. Well, it's hard to tell how you would call this. It's both a reboot and like a revisiting of the Eternals, who have been kind of gone from the Marvel universe, and there's a reason for that. So the story centers mostly around this guy named Mark Curry, who is really Makari, from the speedster of the Eternals. And he's lost his memories. He doesn't know who... He thinks he is Mark Curry, but after meeting a guy named Icarus, who is Icarus from the Eternals, he starts having all of his memories returning, and at the same time, the Deviants, the archenemy of the Eternals, are planning something big. So the Eternals have basically lost all of their memories and are trying to relearn about themselves, and that's pretty fun because I think like there's retelling the origin story is like a smart idea, especially in this way. Like Gaiman could have done like just a total rewrite of the origins of the of the characters. He could have legit done an entire reimagining of the Eternals. He could have done that without even, like, bothering. Like, he could have just been like, I'm just gonna tell whatever I want because no one fucking cares about the Eternals. I'm Neil Gaiman. Stop me. He could have easily done that, but no. The dude did his homework on the Eternals. And I had to, like, go and research, like, all the stuff for the Eternals. I had to, like, be like, is this right? It's like, oh, it's right. Now, he does take liberties with some of the characters. He does take liberty with some of the origin, especially the main plot of this story, which involves the Celestials, because the Celestials are tied to the Eternals. And it's interesting, and it actually flows pretty seamless. Now, what's funny is that, it's kind of like, Gaiman brings up the fact, because I feel like someone would have been like, well, some of the Eternals were Avengers. Like, wouldn't it have made sense that the Avengers would have noticed that they were gone, or were their memories wiped of them? And Gaiman brings that up. He's like, no, I remember that that Cersei, one of the Eternals, was an Avenger. And keep in mind, this is during Civil War. Like, this comic was coming out during post-Civil War, so the Registration Act is a thing. And kind of like how Warren Ellis did in his Thunderbolts run, he's kind of like, Neil Gaiman's like, this Civil War shit is stupid. It's straight stupid. I'm gonna make fun of it so hard because I hate this. And you can clearly see Gaiman's contempt for anything Civil War and registration with superheroes in every page they bring it up. Because really, the only Avengers that we see in here are Wasp, Yellow Jacket, and Iron Man, and they do play roles in here, especially Iron Man, who does bring up to Cersei, who's lost her memories. He's like, "Hey, listen, I know you're a former Avenger, and thanks for the help, but you need to get registered." And there's also a whole thing of who wants to be America's next superhero, of these young metahumans who want to be superheroes, but they can't, oh, we signed waivers, we can't do superhero stuff. And Wasp is like their host for the show. It's literally like it's like literally like Gaiman's going, I hate this, I know you hate this, let's poke holes in everything about how bad the superhero registration is. Yeah, it's literally like it's literally that. Like Gaiman, like I said, with Warren Ellis was like poking holes in the whole thing. So yeah. Anyway, so let's talk about John Romita Jr.'s artwork. Now, Romita Jr., as we all know, can be really hit and miss. Like, there can be points where Romita Jr. is, like, really bad. Like, his stuff with Bendis's Avengers, where it's really blocky and it's not good. Like, there are points where it's not good or it's okay with some points in World War Hulk. And then there's, like, straight up bad, like I said, with his time with Bendis's Avengers. Because he can't, like, Romita Jr. has slowly become, like, if you want to get really good Romita Jr., you need to just get him for a short burst. You can't have him doing a fucking ongoing anymore. But, so you're probably wondering, well, which Romita Jr. do we get? Do we get good or bad Romita Jr.? Because this is Neil Gaiman we're talking about. You need the A game for game. You need the A Gaiman. I apologize. That was awful. I felt a part of my soul die saying that out loud. So let me show you Romita Jr.'s artwork in here. Oh, hang on. Drum roll. Yeah. We're dealing with very good Romita Jr. We are dealing with very good Romita Jr. Like, at some point, it's like almost like a darker version of Jack Kirby's artwork. It's very reminiscent of like darker Jack Kirby artwork, and I really appreciate that. I really think that's cool. Yeah. The comic really does it's really cool to introduce not only the Eternals again, but also the Deviants. And like I said, Gaiman does do a good job of telling everyone the story of the Eternals, but he also adds some new flair to it, and he does explain why the Eternals became mortal and why they can't remember being Avengers or working in the Marvel Universe anymore. There's a lot to it. Like, there is a lot that they discuss, and yeah, it's there's a twist in here that is shocking, and really surprises you, but at the same time, you're like, oh shit. And again, if you've never picked up an Eternals book, like if you have never picked up an Eternals book at any point in your life, and are thinking, well, I don't know if I can get into Eternals, there's not a lot of stuff, and it's confusing, and it's just Marvel New Gods. Why read this when I can read New Gods? And that's a fair point, but if you're looking for anything Marvel-wise, because yes, Eternals is coming in November, so if you're looking for anything, even as a Marvel character, because I know a lot of fans of the Marvel Universe, Marvel Comics and all that are like, I don't know anything about the Eternals. So if you're a Marvel reader or a new reader and want to read something about the Eternals to get ready for the movie, all you really need is this book. You really it's 7 issues long. The trade is a little expensive. I think they're going to do reprints of make it shorter and cheaper, because this has a lot of like special stuff in it. So yeah, if you're looking for Eternals stuff or a lifelong Eternals fan, I heavily suggest checking this out. So you guys tell me in the comments below, if you've read the Eternals, if you've read the Eternals by Neil Gaiman, what did you guys think of it? Did you guys like it, hate it? Comment below, let me know. Once again, Mount Vernon Kid, Chris, bro, thank you so much for getting this for me. This was a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see what comes next in the mail from you. But anyway, so once again, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.